Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I just think I kind of look it back to just, and I don't want to be like this. It doesn't have to do that way, but from in the business world, just like what are we? Why are we doing this? To me, I always have to answer that question because people are going to ask that. What is it we're doing, and why are we doing this? Or what are we proposing, and why are we proposing it?
Okay, go for it.
Okay. We're doing it because, and this happens way before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing members in the church, and we want to draw back the members to the churches. And for us to do that, we first have to have stewards and disciples. So we want to train people to go out and teach others the discipleship. We have to, first of all, we have to let them explain to them, because this is one of the questions that was asked at our parish council. What is discipleship? So we have to have the full meaning of discipleship. We want to train people to be discipleship and to go out and teach others in order to draw people back into the parish, into the church.
Mm-hmm. When we say mission, we, in that sense, mean discipleship. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, a question that I have is the goal to increase bodies in the church? You know, you kind of referenced that several times, Lucy, is to bring back people to the church. I don't think that's our purpose at all. If we think that's the answer, that's not. I don't think that's right, because church is changing. That's why we're doing this. And the definition of church is not a good church is not because we have a big bank account and we have lots of people.
Well,
that was the old definition of a great church.
That's not what I meant.
No, yeah, I know.
we understand that.
I'm playing devil's advocate just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's not devil's advocate. That's the central point.
That's right.
We are to go out into the community and be church.
Yes.
And whether that brings people into our buildings is a secondary consideration.
That's right. Because the church is not just a building.
But what concerns me is I don't think people have got their heads around that. The average person, like if you talk to the people in our church, is like, and they're good people, is that they think it's going to go back to the way it was, or similar to that. And I hear it on Sundays, boy, there's more people at church today. It's like the old times, it's like,
Yeah. I mean, maybe we've been doing it wrong all along.
Okay.
Sorry, Ian. Yeah.
Yes, that's all right. Our main purpose is to find new ways of doing church. Let's put it that way. It's nothing new that we are talking about here. That article that, Gary, the article that you forgot about that you put up there, refer that this had started way back in like 1994.
97.
Yes, somewhere about there. And what's your article? Turning the corner or something like that.
Yeah, from the Church of England.
Yes. And basically that's our purpose. Yes, we want to find new ways to do this, because we've had the rug more or less pull out from under us, and we hardly have a good footing. And so that's where we want to start building a foundation. Yeah. And whatever comes of it, comes of it.
Okay, Jennifer.
Just following up on Ian. So what the question that comes to mind, you can, agree or disagree, is how is the church being called or led? How are we being called or led to be the church in the world at this time and place? Like, for me, it cannot, this cannot be an exercise born of the church's need to survive, or out of the church's scarcity. This has to be about what God is doing in and through the church. We always make it about the church. We're a human institution. We're an instrument, ideally, of God, like many others are. But I can't support something that is simply going to try to preserve status quo. And I think, Colin, you're right. I think a lot of people still want that. That's the hugest hurdle.
So I think, you know, when we get up, if we continue on this journey, and I know we're getting into actions here, and that we shouldn't do that, but it's going to be really important for us to choose the right group to partner with to show success, you know, first of all, and that's why I really don't believe the West End group is that group, because
I think so. I don't too.
But I'm getting ahead of myself, and I shouldn't. I think it's key that if we're going to do it, we've got to go. I used to say you have to go slow to go fast. You know, and this is going to take this is a journey we're on. And this is not going to be there's no quick fix solution here. That's for sure. You know, so anyways, but I agree with Ian. That's we're doing new ways of doing church.
We're all on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
And new ways of doing church is the way the Church of England puts it. And I also have a book somewhere in my bookshelf called Learning from London. And it's about the same thing that we're talking about. The Church of England, including in this 1997 document, have been working very hard on turning the corner and creating a new kind of church. And so it was initially Dave Robinson that put me onto that you know, don't reinvent the wheel. The Church of England has been working on this for a lot of years, and they put together some really good materials. I would invite you, although it's an awfully long article, to go back to the site that my website on creativestewardship.ca, and have a look at that 1997 article from the Church of England, because it's a gold mine in there, and I think we have to be up on that.
Creative, what you say was creative
stewardship.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Creativestewardship.ca. That's not my article, but at the bottom of that page has a link to the article that I sent you.
Yeah, I got that printed out somewhere. Because I read it.
That was the work I was doing 2 years ago at the start of the pandemic. And so it's a little outdated in that I was writing at the beginning of the pandemic and talking about things in that context, but it doesn't take much change. But maybe I should revise it for now. But
I think Gary, it's very relevant. I looked at it; it's very relevant.
Yeah, it's good.
Very
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Got it printed out.
Thank you. It was an enormous amount of work, you know, just to sort of summarize it. So I'm still on drawing from this discussion. It still takes me back to my original suggestion that we have to have a summary for Jeff, saying what our approach is and what we're asking him to buy into. And he will be, I believe he will be sympathetic. That's what I wanted all along, kind of thing. But I think we still have to produce that presentation saying what we're all about. And this discussion is for the purpose of figuring out how to do that. That's my take on it. And I still invite others who want to, like Lucy said she would, I still invite others to sort of take a crack on writing down how we might put this together. I'll do that myself. Lucy said she'll do it, so we'll have at least two things to bring to the next meeting. to talk about whether this is being presented well.
What's that?
You know, one of the other issues that I thought about, well, first of all, we're going to get pushback. As Colin mentioned, the idea everybody wants to get back to the old ways,
Yeah.
and they're
And it's don't
relieved.
work. And I
They're
do agree with
relieved to
you.
get back into their buildings, and so we're going to get pushback. But we're also going to. It's not pushback, but one of the things that's always concerned me is if we move out of our buildings and into the community, being church in the community more, a bunch of people in the church system are going to lose their salaries. There might be less priests. There might be less active churches paying payroll.
Right now, we have an excess of priests. I was going through some.
Yeah, we have
notes there.
Now, the priests that I know would not, I mean, they would accept that, saying this, if this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do. But I'm concerned about all those people who might be losing their salaries. And go ahead.
I think we're kind of jumping to conclusions there, Gary. I think that's a watch out, and we obviously need to be concerned about that. But maybe there's other new roles for those priests. As things change, you're just again this is if we don't have a church, then we don't need a priest, and away we go. Well, maybe we need a priest more than ever. And
to go out.
So I hear you. I don't disagree. It's a concern, but I don't think again we're thinking old ways, like the old way we don't have a church, we don't need a priest, and away we go, right? I think we probably need them more than ever. A different kind of leadership.
Maybe what we need, and I've heard Jeff say this, maybe we need some kind of itinerant priests out there. That
What do you mean by that?
Not tied to a particular church, but priests out working out in the community.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Or the way I put it, we have to go out and be church in the community. And we need priests working on that too.
And that things are not going to change like right away. Like, my God, this is pardon me, but it's going to be that. You know what, Gary? If that was what would happen, that means that we're successful, right? But that is going to take years for that to happen. I would think.
Well, nothing happens, and just like that. Anything
maybe we need to take the indigenous approach of 7 generations.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Pilar as what has been the impact on, if any, on priests and all that, or administratively and
that's
all
a good question. Yeah,
because they've been doing that for how many years now? Was it 3 probably?
Something like that, and
so they're just probably testing the waters now. I would like to see, when I thought about, like, where are they now? Like, how has it changed? Like, how many churches or parishes are involved, and that kind of stuff, and because that'd be a good, for us to, understand.
I think she'd probably be open to a few more Zoom sessions with us.
Oh, absolutely, Gary.
Maybe our next session we should invite her again, because when we bring out the draft of what we put together for Bishop Jeff, maybe she can be there with us.
Well, I will actually send her this video so that you can see what we're talking about. Now that raises another question that in the time we still have available, that's eventually going to be raised. She said she could come here, and we would very much welcome her coming here to help us do training kind of things. She said she's willing to be billeted, but there's also airfares on the thing and that kind of thing. And we don't have a budget. Now,
I brought that up at the last meeting. And she said that they didn't have a budget in the beginning.
Right.
It was way down the road before they formed.
Well, I think that's part of when we talk to the bishop, that's one of the things that we talk about from support, that we're going to need some, financial support. And I know there's some funds. I know there's some funds that would be available, if for the right reason. And we're not talking, we're talking $2,000-3,000. It's not, we're talking $100,000 here. It's still money, and we need, we don't have it right now, but I think that's the kind of commitment that we need from the bishop and whoever, that we get, that we are going to have some financial support.
So nothing so formal as a budget, but there are funds.
Available.
I think so, Gary.
Yeah, I got funding to go to the Franciscan Congress in Phoenix last August, and I got it from the Bishop's Discretionary Fund, but I'm not sure how much he's got in that.
There's money hidden away there somewhere. I'm sure there's funds in there. But whatever.
Gary, you presented some bullet points and a few things that you thought we'd deal with today. On the same topic that we run right now, you have something mentioned, using current resources as to how to extend and develop further. Like, we use just what we have right now and whatever. Yes, that's one of your bullet points you have there.
In that particular point, I was talking about the parishes, and part of the process is we would be asking the parishes what they're doing already. That is really what we're talking about. And then I extended that, and then the rest of my point was, okay, here's what you're doing already. How can you do more? Which is what I meant by extending. And that's part of the discussion we have to have with them.
And this is, I agree with Colin there. I wouldn't join with the West Winnipeg Viability. Although I'm part of that parish that started, I wouldn't join with that.
Yeah.
I agree with Colin.
What would be good, Gary, too, I think to ask Pilar too, is like, after, like, what is when a facilitator or a coach goes to a church or gets linked up with a church, what happens during that process? Okay. I think we kind of maybe know, but then also what changes within that church after that? What's different? Because I think people want to know that, like we talk about a missional church, and I keep on saying that, is like, we want to be more missional. Well, what does that mean? Especially to the average guy or person out there, is we have to help them understand that. I think for us to get buy-in. So, and I think it'd be good to get some real examples of, this is what's happened. This, or I should say, this is what happened. What happens when the church starts on this process.
That is all valuable, but I would want to start that conversation with, what have the coaches been assigned to do?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
That's a good point. Those are the things that we have to really answer, so that when we do present to whoever, we give examples, because people want to know, they have to understand what this means, what's going to go, what happens or could happen, and some examples of it. I think when you put it into those terms, I think our buy-in will be way better.
Now I'll point out again that I'll be sending this video right here to her, so she'll get some sense of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
From watching this, and In fact, maybe I won't try to describe it to her. I'll just say, look at this video. This is where we're going.
Your article, Gary, it
Yes.
stated that today's congregation or today's population do not like to be preached to. It's not like way back with the early churches, but it's more like an instructor and a student. You find out where the student is, and then you work from there. And I think that's a very nice piece there.
Yeah, this is sort of getting into more modern education theory.
Yes.
You don't just lay things on them. You
Oh, yeah.
start you start with where they're at.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
and then if they accept something, they'll be really accepting it.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I'm an educator. I was drawing from education.
That's right. I picture that. Yes, I
and
picture
how
that.
it's evolved. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, Jennifer, if you're thinking of something you want to say there.
Well, I'm feeling like this is sufficiently insufficiently vague even for me as I deal in terms of this draft piece. Like I as Colin has suggested, we began with some brainstorming, which I was gonna actually suggest the same thing, but I don't know. Can we come up with some components that we think we need to include in this communication to the bishop, like some kind of framework? I'm struggling a bit here. I'm not sure what exactly to suggest, except I feel like we need to get more focused about what to include in this. So we're looking at purpose. I mean, yeah, that's
so what would practical focus then, what would the first sentence be?
I'm not even sure about not the actual narrative but maybe some more broad strokes about, okay, so do we need like a background piece, a purpose piece, a Pilar summary, a Gary summary of your writings. I'm just throwing some things out so that we can use our time the best we can when we gather again. There can be it can be helpful to have input from a number of people, but then there comes a point, I think someone needs to take the bull by the horns maybe and write the draft. Or
well, let's then change the plan from a draft, because that's sort of the formal final thing. Let's change the plan to, we'll come up with some points addressing exactly what Jennifer was saying. Come up with some points about what are the main things we want to say, and not get to any drafting until later, because that's kind of the final stuff.
One of the things Pilar kind of point out is that one of the main purposes is to shift mindset as a main purpose.
Yes. And to know, and part of shifting the mindset, you were saying, is the parish has to know what they're all about before we can discuss changing their mindset. We have to have some idea what their mindset is right now.
Yes, you have to know where they're at. Yes.
Yeah, and so that would be a piece of it.
I think not we have to know where they're at. They have to know where they're at.
That's essentially what I meant. Before they can before they can discuss it with us, they have to know what they're discussing. Yeah.
And she had there's tools there with those self audits and all that are good. So
I think we're on the right track. Lucy and I, and maybe more of you, will come up with a few bullet points then.
Or just what are the 4 or 5 key areas that we need to kind of put some meat to, or some more thought to it. maybe just we can talk about that, and so that we're not going all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Right.
just need some
Like, you know, I think one thing, and I'm just thinking out loud here. This, I haven't even thought about it, but one of the things how you would start this is kind of what the situation is. You know, what's the situation off the church, because that kind of tells us what we need to do then, or you know, why we're doing this.
Yeah, that's an essential starting point.
yeah.
So, you know, do the, you know, like there's probably 4 or 5 key, you know, points that we just need to talk about. Then I think we need to say, you know, what would an objective of this you know program be, or maybe even a brief discussion or kind of points about what they've done in Alberta, you know, like you know, like some kind of highlights of it, and then we can, you know, take that to say, you know, what do we need to do, you know, because it sounds like we're saying that we want to kind of follow that model.
Yeah, and that's
in Alberta. So what is that model, right? And you know, kind of, you know, highlight what are the, you know, kind of 4 or 5 key things, and then okay. So if we're going to, you know, if we think that is successful or something that we want to further, what do we need to do then? You know, what does Rupert's Land need to do then?
Yeah, I think that's a very good. I think that's a very good methodology. Don't try to do everything, but just choose 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
Each.
And then, sorry,
you
I would
could
add
come up
how
with
it
something, Colin.
Jennifer?
I would just add to how that, so what you stated, Colin, fits with our own diocesan direction.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Who we are. So link,
that's kind of the situation that we put in, is you know, what is our direction? And you're right, that fits in perfectly.
Yeah,
with the you know, direction, or the, you know, the bishop's, you know, message from the last synod, right?
The bishop's charge. Yeah, that's right.
His charge. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an important point.
So I think if everybody kind of focuses on those 4 or 5 kind of topics, that'll be a good start for us to
and, you know, even 2 or 3 if that's all you can come up with. But just,
whatever.
A starting point. Now I want to ask something because I'm sending the video. I sent the video of the session with Pilar to everybody, but Lucy said it didn't allow her to access that video. Now, the rest of you, I mean, I could access it, but I'm the one who put it there. Did anyone else have any tried and had any trouble seeing that video? Because
I didn't download it.
I didn't either.
Oh, okay. I mean, there is, as a creator on YouTube, there is some place where I indicate what kind of access I want to give. And I thought I had indicated access to everybody, but Lucy couldn't see it. So I got to go check that out again. And then maybe I'll check with 1 or 2 of you later. Once I've fixed that, assuming I can fix that, then I'll check with you to see if you can get it.
Sure.
What it was saying to me that access denied.
Yeah.
And my son tried it with me as well when he couldn't get it. Access denied.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'll work on that, and maybe you should send the video of this to Bishop Jeff too, because it helped him get some understanding of what we're working on. Yeah. Okay, I've got 10:27. We've just about done an hour. Is there more things you want to raise?
Could I just clarify for next time? So we are each tasked with coming up some points pertaining to the kind of
Yes.
areas that Colin identified, bullet
Yes.
point kind of things. We're not going to
Yeah.
worry so much about finesse. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just some
Okay.
points, yeah.
Okay. So we'll
Yeah.
kind of get a better idea of content and
Yeah.
then take it. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then we can review it and then kind of, summarize it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
a good start for us anyways,
Yeah, I think so.
because
Mhm.
it's not something that has to be done like tomorrow. It's,
Well,
this is going to be,
Yeah.
a journey. I keep
Yeah.
referring to it, right?
and
Mhm.
actually, we're coming into December, which is going to be a season where it'll be hard to do
Exactly.
some of this.
Yeah.
So I think we're looking at January really before we get much rolling.
But
That's right, yeah.
But I think it's good to strike while the iron's hot, because I think we're all have ideas now more. I know I do anyways, as to how I can
Yeah, I
present
got
it.
some ideas too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think,
we have.
let's get that done before we kind of shut down for Christmas, or
Yeah.
for that season.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
And
good. We
then-
have some sense of direction here.
Yes,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then you're right. Then after the new year, I think that'll be a good time to meet with the bishop and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you. Can somebody give us a prayer to end? Anybody know how to pray?
I'll pray. Gracious Creator, we give you thanks for your presence in and through each one of us, for the movement of your Spirit in your church and in your world. We pray for your continued inspiration as we seek clarity, as we seek to be faithful, to serve a world that is so in need. So we ask for your strength and for courage as we pursue this path that you've laid before us. Bless each one, our families and parishes. And we ask this in the name of Christ, who holds us all. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Right.
Okay,
care.
well,
And Gary, will you update Lynn? Send her
Oh,
yes.
a note on this. I think she would like to.
Well, you have it taped there, so maybe
Yes, yeah.
you can
yeah,
send it.
I'll solve the YouTube thing and
Good.
then I'll
Okay,
send
yeah.
this to her. She'll get a sense of it from that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. See you
Take
soon.
care. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
see you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.